So I will talk towards the end of my time on mastering the causes of happiness. And as I was thinking about what the causes of happiness are, I realized that they're the causes of any positive experience we want to bring into our life. But yesterday I found myself just really personally struggling with my role as minister and spiritual teacher, and how could I not stand before you and address in some way and acknowledge in some way the tragedy that once again has happened in one of our schools on Wednesday in Florida. And so I do want to spend some time talking about that. You know, it hits home for me in different ways. Certainly it hits home for me, as I think it does for every single one of us that is a parent that wonders about the safety of our children in our schools. I think it hits home for every single conscious person that cares about the safety of all people, whether they are our own family or not. I find that my mind and my heart wanders back almost 40 years ago to Monday, January 29th, 1979, Cleveland Elementary School here in San Diego. My sister Laura was a youngster, a student at Cleveland Elementary School. And that particular day, Monday, January 29th, 1979, I was about 1,500 miles away from San Diego. I was a ministerial student, and I was working that day in Silent Unity, our prayer ministry. And I remember vividly finishing my 3 to 11 shift and going home to my little room. And I had the news on. And that was how I heard and when I heard of the shooting, the very first school shooting that was happening. Brenda Spencer, a 16-year-old girl who lived directly across the street from the entrance in the main courtyard to Cleveland Elementary School, opened fire on the children and people that were coming to school. She was held up, or chose to be in her place, her house, for 8 hours. She was barricaded in with 500 rounds of ammunition. She killed the principal, she killed the custodian, and she wounded 11 children that day. When she had opened fire, only moments before she fired the first shot, my sister was standing at the flagpole, and she was chilly. It was January. And the students were not supposed to go into the nurse's office without permission, and only if they were actually sick. Well, she wasn't sick, but she was cold. So she decided to break the rule and go into the nurse's office. And no sooner had she shut the door than the very first shot was shot, and the very first person was wounded. And so for me, my mind goes back to those 39 years ago. And then I look at where we are today. And my heart is broken, and I know yours is too. And I'm deeply troubled, and I'm deeply concerned. And so yesterday, as I was thinking about today and how I would try to weave a bit of a message to you, the phrase, a living faith, kept coming back to me. Because I do believe that ours is a living faith. I do believe that our teaching is meant for us to change our lives individually, and it's meant for us to not stop there. It's meant for us to be an active influence in the world and to do what we can do to change things that are wrong and to heal places that are hurt, individuals that are hurt. Clearly, this is a time for us to pray. It is always a time to pray, quite frankly, but clearly this is a time to pray. It's a time to hold love and compassion and kindness in our hearts. But we have got to admit that that's not enough. It just is not enough. If ours is a living faith, then we are called to do something. And we are called to do something now. It's a time for us, I think, to reflect upon who are we as a people? Who are we as a human family? Who are we as a society? And then to ask a deeper question and ask ourselves, and who do I want to be? Who do we want to be together? I do not believe that we want to be the kind of world we see expressing itself through these kinds of violent acts. That's not who we want to be. But it's not enough just to know what we don't want to be. We've got to know clearly what it is we do want to be, and we need to stand in that, and we need to take action for that. We're at a really pivotal time, and I've said that before from this platform, and I'm not the only person that feels that we're at a pivotal time. When these things happen, these are the times that we've got to turn our anger and our grief into action. These are the times that we need to become socially active and socially engaged. If our spirituality is only about taking care of ourselves individually and awakening, it is a mistake. It has got to be about our awakening to the end of bringing forth a more loving, kind, just world for everyone.
Thanks for listening. Sunday services at 9 and 11 a.m. Inclusivity. It's worth the drive. Subscribe to our podcasts and download our free app for instant access to a wealth of spiritual teachings, services, and events.